Hey, this is Gene. Sorry, I was looking around to make sure the thing was actually recording. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the case with Ahmed Mohammed, a little bit about the president and his response to that, and also some of the people in his staff, the vice president, about whether or not men should ever touch a woman. First, as a men's rights advocate, several times I've talked about how kids are, especially boys, are being demonized in schools for boys being boys. And in this case, this was apparently a kid was being a boy. But there's a line that you go past. When those kids were 5, 6, 7-year-olds, had a Pop-Tart gun, and they were suspended, that was one of those things that really infuriated me, and I wanted to talk about it. So I talked about it, how we were demonizing boys for being boys. This area issue right here, because people not look at it and report common sensely on it. I listened this morning to Michael Sparkanish. I will try to link down to the story for this. A lot of people already know what's going on with this. Irving, Texas, 14-year-old Muslim American went to school, had an alarm clock that looked like a briefcase, and something happened. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think happened, and what has become the outlash, or how the media has portrayed it. First, I think that this was a new kid. Now, no one's really talking about this. This was a fairly new student to that high school. Because I've seen a lot of people saying, normally, if you're a teacher, you know that there are guys that are tinkers and they do stuff like this. And they should have just said, hey, it's just him, it's no big of a deal. They didn't really know who he was. Now, the engineering instructor that he came up to showed it to him, and the guy said, hey, that's cool, but you know what? Somebody might look at that and think something's kind of off with it. Now, that was the first time that maybe somebody could have stepped in and said, hey, I'll hold on to this until the end of the day. What happened after that, it becomes now that everybody thinks it's basically on race and religion, and the fact that everybody in this country believes that all Muslims are terrorists. What this kid went ahead and do, he went around the rest of the day, then he went to one of his classes, and while it was there, the alarm went off. And apparently, that would probably shock me if I was if I was a student in that school. Now, what everybody gets really upset about is that the school at that point wasn't evacuated if they really thought it was a bomb. Everybody's like, well, if it was really a bomb or they thought it was a bomb, they just wanted to just arrest him because of Muslim. Now, this is probably what happened. I think that he knew that it went off. I don't know in his mind if he was just doing it to put fear into the people in the classroom. I don't think that was the case. But I'm sure he opened up the case, he turned it off, so you could, at that point, when they got the resource person in there who's a cop, came in there, looked at it, and said, obviously it's not a bomb, so he decided not to evacuate the school. So that talking point that you might hear saying, why did they, because we'll always have to evacuate because something like this, if it's a suspicious object. In this case they didn't, they realized it wasn't. So the next question is, after that, why were the other cops came in, and why he was put in handcuffs and all that stuff. And people are saying that the cops shouldn't have done that, or they shouldn't have come back. There is, under the law, around here especially, that school is liable that if something happens in that school. And it is against the law to either fake a bomb or try to call some sort of alarm. And the guy that was the chief for the cops actually said it on CNN, and it's a great interview, and people should actually look into that. And so they didn't, still at that point, they detained him, and they handcuffed him, and they took him downtown. They waited for their parents to get there, and then they interrogated him, and then they realized that there was probably nothing going on here. Now, there's a reason why they do this. They get the parents down there, and they might find out that the father has some sort of leanings, which he does. He's an imam. It doesn't mean that he's a terrorist. But if something would have happened, and somebody actually made a good point, that this could have been a trial run. You go in there and nobody cares, and the next day you bring it and you have the bomb in it. I'm not saying that this kid was doing it. I'm not. But as I said, I'm an MRA, and I really get upset when we don't let boys be boys. And there's a way that this kid, there should be maybe somebody, an adult, that should have said, hey, probably I'll hold on to that to the end of the day, and then you can take it back. But when everybody on the left is saying it's all based on race, and everybody in this country believes that every Muslim is a terrorist, that infuriates me, because that's not really what happened here. I think that at the end of the day, the boy is going to go to the White House. You know, obviously, I keep, when I see stuff like this and say, hey, you want to come to the White House, and after I've already emailed the president, sent him several emails, notes, talking about men's issues, and I can't get shit. I'm thinking maybe if I kill myself, or if I bring a bomb to, I don't know, to where I get in trouble. I mean, so basically in this, I think that everybody did what they were supposed to do. It was unfortunate to see a kid that was that frail looking, that was put in handcuffs, but people forget that Sarnev was a very small, frail looking kid, 18 years old. His brother wasn't any bigger. They weren't like some guys that, you know, the trench hose looking guys. These were guys that were frail looking people. I'm not saying that this kid is, I'm not saying that their family is, but if I was a parent, I think whatever they did there was the right thing to do, and I think we need to get past this and just get away from the very first thing you come up with. It's all based on race. And I've heard several times, there's a great YouTuber that I watch, he's a reactor, and he started saying if it was a white guy, they wouldn't have done anything. And it's people that make that type of lazy arguments on something, when the truth is that most things that happen, and unfortunately, it is usually the white guys that come in and end up shooting kids in the school, and they're always on the lookout for that. And I will guarantee you, if there was a white guy or a white girl that brought that in there, and then it looked like it was in a case that looks like a bomb, and then the thing went off at school, and somebody would come in and say, what the fuck happened? They're going to look in there and there's no bomb. There would be some sort of you're going to have to pay the piper here. And he got suspended. Now I'm sure that got all taken under the rug, because and now he's leaving. I don't think that's a teaching moment there. I don't realize that the boy is leaving. I think that's stupid. That doesn't do anything. So we got to get past this. I mean, my son and I have, last 2 days, we've had long conversations about this. You know, he still has this thing about white guilt and white privilege and all this other stuff, and we got to get past this shit. You know, let's look at what the situation is. We might say there were things that have been better there. Nobody got hurt, and that's the most important thing. When there's another 1,000 kids in that school, I would have had absolutely no problem if my kid brought that in there, and he shouldn't have done it. And somebody called him off. You know, I would have an issue if I didn't have some sort of redress at that, and say I'm not. You know, he shouldn't be suspended. You want to talk about maybe he shouldn't have brought this in under the codes of the school. I mean, this goes all to kids that wear stuff they shouldn't wear, the dress codes that these girls have been trying to taken care of and stuff, and they get all this press for this. I don't think that this kid was trying to do this, but you know, being vigilant. To me, there's no racial issue here. There's no, you know, again, I'm a white old man, and people can take whatever I have to say and throw it out the side, because, you know, it makes no sense to me. You might say it at first, but when you actually look at it, and I just wish that people would do that. At first, maybe your baser instinct would be like, it's racist, it's this or whatever. Look at the entire stuff and realize, you know what, they probably did exactly what they should have done. And adults make mistakes. The problem is when that resource officer, who's a cop on campus, goes in there. This alarm went off. He's detains a kid, and at that point he has to contact. He's lawfully required to contact the other cops, and they have to come in and decide what they're going to do. And they went ahead and taken him down because you have to look into this. You just can't say, oh, it's okay. Not today. You can't. You just can't. It's different than someone that has a Pop-Tart thing to eat, and you put a gun in, and it looks like a gun. That's different than this. So anyway, now let's go on to a little problem that's happened. It's not a problem. because as you know, people looked at my video that I'm a man without a party, and another thing happened yesterday that Biden, who apparently is probably going to run for the presidency, basically said that a man should never put up his hand to hit a woman. So of course, as I always do, I replied to that, and I said, shouldn't it really be that nobody should be hitting each other? Why? And I said, why stop demonizing men? Because that's all you guys are doing, saying that we're the only ones that do this. And we are the ones that have to be responsible in every scenario when there's an argument or something like that. It's us. If there's rape, we're the ones that absolutely have to be the perpetrator. We are the ones that in a domestic violence thing, we're always a person that's going to be considered as the perpetrator. We have to be the one that if you get hit across the face or yelled at, or you walk into you see your girlfriend or wife is screwing somebody else, that you're the one that has to be the responsible one, the one that's supposed to be adult, the one that's supposed to be mature, when everybody else is acting like kids. And then we're the ones that get blamed for everything. And I get it. I understand why he does it. He's courting the white woman vote, because the Democrats are losing that now, because the person that's the front runner is losing so much support in that area, and maybe they think the Biden could come in and get that back. So I was very upset about that. I was also somewhat heartened that the president went on campuses and started talking about you should be able to talk what you want to say on campus. So I was glad he did all that. I'll try to link down all that, but he needs to stop with this old feminist talking points, the 1 in 5, the pay gap, all that stuff. That stuff needs to stop, and he needs to stop saying he looks like my son would look like, or you come to the White House because we want to make sure the boys want to do this, or our students have to be into science. He needs to stop getting himself into individual issues instead of again. What upsets me is every day I think 60 kids or 60 servicemen, former servicemen, are killing themselves, and I don't see him do anything like that. Say, come to the White House, let's talk about this. This is something very important. And the VA is people are dying because they're not seeing anybody. And this kid, obviously, for the 4 hours that he was detained, I might have been very scary for him, but he's going to get past it, and he might know that in the future, maybe I shouldn't do this. There's certain things you don't bring into school anymore. You can't bring anything that looks like a gun. You can't bring in like a briefcase that looks like it could be a bomb. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's stupid. And so again, I don't really have a problem with what they did. Okay, let me tell you let me think what, I can't talk. If you have any comments, please let me know. You can tell me that I'm an old, stupid, ismo, whatever they call it. I'll try to link all that information. But that's really I have all today. You guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.